Yo, it's that time. Get ready to unwind with Jillian on the mic. The best you'll find. Pop that cork. Let's start to chat on the PoliWine podcast where it's all that. Join the crew as we dive into the scene. Current events heated. Know what I mean? Jillian.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on PoliWine, where we like to take a deep dive into stories pulled from the media and have a fun time while breaking it down. I'm Jillian, and let's get into it. Well, let's start off in politics because it is ever-changing and fast-moving, so let's just jump on in. So today we are in day 24 of the government shutdown. Here on the local news, there are many stories that are covering food lines. And here they are, these food banks with long lines of government employees. And there was this one interview that I was watching of this woman, and it was so sad. She was very emotional, and she was saying, I never thought I would be here, standing in a line at a food bank to put food on the table for my family. I did everything right. I went to school. I got a really good education. I got a really good job that I always felt that provided security for my family. And here I am standing in a food line because I can't put food on the table for my family. And that was just one of many, many touching and heartbreaking stories. And today, on Friday, for many in the government, it will be the first time they don't get a paycheck. So there's no money coming in. So this is real. People are feeling it. And somehow Congress has got to come together and make things happen for our government employees and for this country, this purgatory that we're in. We don't know if we're going to get paid. We don't know if we're going to eat. What's going to happen? Are we going to lose our jobs? It's just... And this is around holiday time where we should be happy and just ready to spend and put it out in the market and give. We can, if anything. I know a lot of people that are just reserved and holding things more close to the vest because they don't know what tomorrow holds. They don't know if they're going to have holidays. They don't know if they're going to have money to buy gifts because they don't have enough money to put food on the table. This is dire straits here, and something has got to be done. When this big, beautiful bill was just pushed right through, it cut out so many Americans that just disregarded so many concerns of so many Americans. So I understand what the holdout is for the Democrats when it comes to insurance. But Republicans, you got to come to one side. Democrats, you got to come to another side. And you got to meet in the middle, man. You've got to meet in the middle. People aren't eating. There's not enough jobs to cover people that are losing jobs. What are we going to do? Okay. And the numbers are coming out. The employment numbers are coming out. Where our economy stands right now, those numbers are coming out, and it's not great. People elected you. We voted you in. Do your job and make this a better place for all Americans, just not for you. Because let's just not forget, those who are fighting and have the government shut down on the Hill, you're getting paid. You have health insurance. You get to go to your gyms that you have a membership to that we provide for you. So you have all the perks and amenities where everybody else is struggling. It is a real struggle, and it is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. We always say in the DC metro area, when the economy's in a challenging place, the government area around here, we're kind of recession proof. But government employees are not shielded from the stubbornness and stupidity of our own government sometimes. And it is truly an unfortunate thing. We are having some dissenters on each side of the party because they're like, look, something's got to be done. All my constituents are calling me and we're stressing out. I hear it. I feel it. We got to move the ball. So we need more of them. And again, there are some unlikely people that I never thought would break ranks with the party, and they are. And good for you. Good for you. Because we need you. We need you now. And SOS, the distress calls are out there. It is serious. It is scary. And why are we still building a ballroom when our government and everybody's livelihood in this area and all over the U.S. is very uncertain. Yes, I understand that the ballroom is private funded. Okay, those are by donations. Yes, we have just recently seen the list of those donors who are giving money towards the ballroom. Okay, major corporations there. I don't want corporations to feel like they own part of the White House. I have that concern. Yes, I do. But we saw that list come out. So, and I want to see I want to see the numbers. I want to see the layout. Why did this construction not go through the full approval process? When I see images of the East Wing of the White House just destroyed, it really upsets me. That is a piece of our history. That is our house. That is the house of the American people. I didn't vote that tacky, hideous, galdy gold mass monstrosity of a room. I don't want that. So, okay, yeah, you want to make some renovations, make it bigger. That's fine. Go through the proper process, because as we're understanding, it is not. And yes, I understand that during constructions, things change. You have to sometimes make some adjustments along the way. And sometimes projects take longer and become bigger. Yes, those things happen. That is a very old structure. So yes, I'm sure they're going to have some hiccups along the way. But the whole wing is like demolished. It is shocking. It is shocking. And the other renovations that have happened to the White House since he's taken office, that massive flagpole that obstructs the view in the front of the White House from the mall, hate it. Those giant lights that flank the National Monument that block that beautiful green grass. I have so many issues. The placing in of these monstrous poles everywhere in the reconstruction. You know, DC is a beautiful area. There's not a lot of area around the White House. It is green. It is pristine. It is beautiful. It is picturesque. That is what, I mean, it's been touched for so long. And now within months, just build, destroy, take down. It does seem like a metaphor for everything else that is happening during this administration. Personal opinion there. Just tear down, destroy. Just tear down, rip it apart, destroy. Who cares? You know, who cares what anybody else's opinion is? I'm doing with what I want. So yes, and not only with that, we're talking about that construction and with the government shutdown, and we are also shooting down boats off the coast of Venezuela that we know nothing about. The government knows nothing about what's happening here. We don't know. The U.S. people do not know why. That's kind of crazy. And we just got the numbers from the U.S. Treasury of where the U.S. national debt is. Well, it just surpassed $38 trillion. $38 trillion. Now, as of December 2024, just several months ago, not even a year ago, it was at 37 trillion. So we just made another $1 trillion in debt in the last 10 months. Oh my God. So think about it. How much money does it cost to have the National Guard in each city? Okay. I have heard estimates about $1 million a day. Okay. The USCG, the United States Coast Guard, just purchased 2 brand new private jets that Kristi Noem is using for the cost of $170 million. Okay. So there's just a few numbers. I need to see the other receipts. Okay. I need to see some serious receipts. We need outside auditors to come in, please. And we need to get these numbers and checks and balances in order. It's crazy. I thought this was everybody voted this one in to get this administration to get costs down, the cost of food down, the cost of gas down, which is the cost of gas is down for now. Jobs, these things, none of this is happening other than the gas. As of right now, the gas price is down. But with these sanctions and tariffs, who knows what it'll be next week. And then we just also, let me throw out another number for you. 20 billion we just gave to Argentina. And the Department of Treasury is saying, in the long run, it might be a little bit more, maybe more like 40. So there's that. And the cattle ranchers are struggling. The farmers are really struggling between soybean and cattle. Well, now cattle ranchers are really feeling it because not only is the price of beef up and a lot of the aids that we give to farmers have been slashed. Now, there was a suggestion that Trump said the other day, well, how about if we buy beef from Argentina to kind of offset the cost and things like that? And cattle ranchers went nuts. They're like, what? So not only are you going to cut off some of our aid, you are going to then put a competitor against us? Like, how are we going to survive? Like, how does this make any sense? Okay, so now everybody's upset. So you've got government, you got our farmers. Wow, those are two very large groups of people that supported you, and you're losing them. So I don't know. People are angry. People are angry, and rightfully so. So it's a mess. I have no other way to describe it. It is a mess, and I don't see a coalescence of any kind happening anytime soon. And this is holiday season. It's an expensive time of year anyway. There's a lot of political discord. And so now we got to sit around the table with people in a very short amount of time with our family members, some that we agree, disagree, which is kind of always a little bit challenging anyway. But put all this extra tension in the air. Thanksgiving, this could be a difficult meal this year. It really can. So, talk to those that you need to get out any feelings and hug your loved ones a little bit longer and a little bit tighter, because right now we need love and support and a little bit of laughter because this is tough. And as we're talking about excessive amounts of money, let's take a little bit of a pivot to the sports. And did you hear this story about former NBA players, NBA coaches, and the mob and gambling? Oh my God. So yesterday, the FBI and the district attorney of New York, I think it's the Southern District Attorney of New York, had a press conference that they made a pretty high profile arrest from a now NBA coach, former player Chauncey Billups, to Miami Heat player Terry Rozier, and former NBA player Damon Jones. Yeah. And it was all tied in with the mob. So there are several different charges here. One was they had an illegal gambling ring. Yeah. And the other one was fixing games. So from what I can understand, and we're still getting details run out. I was listening to different news outlets last night that had read some of the indictments, and it's kind of crazy. And if you have a chance to go through the news and listen to some of what they named the operations, the FBI, really kind of funny. They love to title their operations with interesting names, and it's entertaining, that's for sure. But so Chauncey Billups was I guess you could say the lure in this gambling ring. So he was trying to get, big fish, whales to come in and place high power bets. And when these people were gambling, the game was rigged. They had like X-ray gaming card tables. They had signals that they were giving to other people. And when you see like pictures of these like X-ray card tables and the system they had, it is pretty sophisticated. I mean, and interesting. And then you had the other one where you had Terry Rozier, like kind of rigging games, NBA games, saying, telling insiders it's kind of like insider trading, if you will. But he was telling his associates in this ring, who was going to be out, if he was going to sit out a game because he was sick, inform people like if like a high player, like one name that they threw out an example, and I don't know how accurate it is, but they were saying like one game that he said like LeBron James was sitting out. So he put it out that he's not out. He's sick today, so he's not on there. So that would stack the game. He had inside knowledge. So he was leaking that out to people so they would place a bet and make the winnings. So yeah, it's a big deal. Am I shocked? I am not shocked at all. Well, when I was listening to the news and talking with people, and they're like, this is unbelievable. Who could have thought this could happen? I'm like, what do you mean? How do you think this couldn't happen? This was bound to happen. And my opinion is like, look, anytime you watch 2 minutes of a sports game, you're going to have some advertisement for a betting platform thrown in your face several times in that 2 minutes. No question. It's everywhere. It's on the screen. They'll tell you who's sponsoring it. It's one of the major betting platforms. Well, we've also had recent stories where we have fans, spectators of the games, like harassing and heckling players, where hoping that it will distract them and it will actually affect the outcome of the game. So this has been a big deal. We've talked about hecklers harassing the players in WNBA games, NBA games, and in golf. And I'm just talking about the Open the other several weeks ago was in Scotland, where I understand that the spectators were just awful and extremely disrespectful to the golfers and embarrassing. So that, from what I understand, that was just rude and drunkenness, from what I understand. But we have talked about it in other events. I think it was like Rory McIlroy has talked about it, because in golf, I mean, the fans are right there. They are right up on you, which I've never liked. I just like, how can you focus when there's people talking right next to you when you got to focus on a shot? Never kind of got that, but they're right there. So it's a big deal and it does affect them. So yeah, I just think that this was the next thing that was going to happen. It just was a matter of time. My question is, and my, thought is, the bigger story is, how did the mob, get Chauncey Billups, right? Like, that's the story to me. Like, was he in trouble with them? Was he already a gambler? This is my speculation, my theory here. Was he already like a gambler and betting? And did he owe them money and was in a predicament? And they're like, we will, clean the site. Did they make him an offer he couldn't refuse? Did they do that? Was he in trouble? And like, okay, this is what you're going to do. This is how you can pay it back. You're going to be the lure and you're going to get these fish or whale, whatever the gambling lingo is, in so we can make this money. Did they blackmail him? I have no idea. To me, that's the story. Or was he just all in? Like, yeah, I'm in it for the money. And like they say, it's like insider trading when it comes to the NBA portion of this whole indictment. And I mean, it's like Wall Street, like with Michael Douglas back in the day. Greed is good. Is that what it is? Is it just the greed? Is it the intoxication of the instant buck? I don't know, but it took them all down in a big way, because if charged and sentenced, it could be a very lengthy stay in prison. And this is FBI, man. This is not local. This is FBI. So you're in trouble now. And usually when the Southern District Attorney of New York comes at you, they barely miss. It's when they swing, they hit, they don't miss. So I guess that's what I'm saying. So it's really interesting. But yeah, the mob's involved. Cash Patel, when he was standing up there, how many times do you think he practiced La Costa Nostra? Do you think he probably wrote it down on his tablet? Because we all saw with the cameras, saw on his folders when he was in front of the oversight hearing several weeks ago. He's given himself like daily affirmations on his folder. So, he was dying to say La Costa Nostra. He was dying to say that. But it is, who would have thought? But gambling and the mob, yeah, that's a tale as old as time, and it goes hand in hand. So I didn't find any of it shocking. It was just a matter of time, in my opinion. Again, the bigger story to me is, how did the mob get Chauncey Billups? Like, I want to know that story. And when that Lifetime or Hulu story comes out, I definitely will be watching. And speaking of Hulu, I'm going to come back. Did anybody see the Murdaughs, A Death in the Family, Patricia Arquette? It is really good. Jason Clarke, you are spot on as Alec Murdaugh. I mean, spot on. He's got the look. He's got the sound when he's going paw paw. It's really good. Patricia Arquette, man, you go deep into your character. And I love you. She can be that Southern sweet charm and just flip on a dime. So good. But I mean, I'm thinking about the directors, the editors, like, you cannot make this story up. It is just so much happening, from the death of the mother and the son to the housekeeper to the young, beautiful girl that died in that boat accident to him getting shot on the side of the road. Like, how do you fit all that in 8 episodes? Crazy. But they're doing a really good job. And then you've got the court case. Don't forget about the court case. I mean, we all watched that court case when Alec Murdaugh took the stand. Crazy. Yeah, but I'm telling you, if you haven't watched the Murdaugh, A Death in the Family on Hulu, Patricia Arquette, Jason Clarke, Brittany Snow, just to name a few, do it. It is really good. You're like, how do they fit all of this in 8 episodes? We're only in episode 4 that just aired, and we're literally only halfway through. Like, how do you get all the other stuff in just 4 episodes? It's crazy. But yeah, and let me just talk about another documentary I watched that when I say you can't make it up, that is the documentary on Netflix, and that is called The Perfect Neighbor. It documents the tragic killing of Ajika Owens in Florida. In this documentary, it was pretty much all from police body cam footage and also from camera footage inside the police station when interviewing the woman who shot this lady. And I'm going to tell you, this is towards the end of the documentary. It is a very difficult watch. It is gut-wrenching. It is heartbreaking. When I tell you I was bawling because this is real. This is real life stuff. So this documentary it basically is a timeline of this conflict that's going on in this neighborhood. It's a Florida neighborhood. There's a lot of small kids in this neighborhood, which happened in my neighborhood and in most neighborhoods. There's a lot of small children out to play. It's Florida. It's warm. They should be outside playing. And this one neighbor moves into this rental, and just to say she's a curmudgeon, that's just too nice. She's just mean and hateful. And in my opinion, she seems pretty racist, in my opinion, because this woman shouts out profanities, racist slurs to children. And then when the parents come out to say something, the woman calls the police. And in this documentary, you see the body cam footage from the police after all these calls. And it's just one call after another call for I don't even know how long the span of time is. But you would think that with everything that we would hear in the news with police officers, and sometimes when some of this body cam footage come out or an incident like this, you might think it might reflect poorly on the police. This is not the case at all in this documentary. The police actually come off just the way they should. They interact so well with the people in the community and the neighborhood. They were understanding, they had to do their job and say, look, this is what's legal. This is not, this is not legal. But when you see them interacting with the parents and the kids, and this is what you want from your local police department. They're saying to the parents, look, the kids should be out playing. I understand when I was a kid, I was riding my bike up and down, and these kids were playing football and soccer and things like that in a field that was adjacent to this property this lady was renting, and she was hateful. Well, after many, many, many calls and all this conflict, it just escalated and escalated. And one time, an event happened where the mom Ajika Owens went to knock on the door to retrieve her child's iPad. And this lady shot through the door, metal door, no windows, metal, and it ended up killing her. And this was caught on camera, not the actual incident, but as soon as the police and paramedics and everybody showed up on the scene, this was all caught on camera. It was insane. When the police informed the family that this mother had passed and they had to tell the children, I'm telling you, it was heartbreaking. And it just kept getting worse. Like the children were trying to save the mom. They couldn't. It was just awful. And this whole documentary, this whole tragedy, goes, revolves around this law in Florida, stand your ground, because this lady said she was standing her ground. So that's where she felt that she was in fear for her life. So that's why she shot. And the stand your ground law has come out before in national news over an incident. And it really goes into the whole stand your ground law in Florida. And it is disturbing. It poses many questions about this law. It is just heartbreaking and very good documentary. I have a hard time usually seeing stuff from that kind of angle just because the motion and stuff like that. But it was a very profound documentary. It was tough. But again, the police, you did everything that you could. The police were so affected in this documentary too, because they had made relationships with this community, this neighborhood, because they were there so much, because this woman had constantly called for just nonsense. So they were very much affected too. So, and can I just give credit to the one neighbor in the neighborhood that was constantly on the phone with the cigarette and the bun? That mama bear is the neighborhood watch that everyone wants. She was a fighter. She was compassionate, and she was the mom in charge that day. I mean, but the families out there, the kids, this is what kids do. It was, and she did it in front of kids. So a very powerful documentary. It has huge viewing on Netflix. And it should. It's really eye-opening. So go watch it. The Perfect Neighbor, Netflix. Brace yourself. When I say it, that certain section when the police respond to the shooting, difficult. That poor family, those kids. I mean, the mom was shot right in front of her son. Just awful. But a very good documentary. So go watch that. If you haven't there is a limited series on Peacock if you want. And we're going to come back into the world of crime, and that is Devil in Disguise. This is a little bit background story of the serial killer John Wayne Gacy in the 70s in Illinois. And wow, what a disturbed individual. It is scary. It is really, really creepy. Long. It was definitely long. We could have condensed, I think, down a few episodes. Personal opinion there. But why they did kind of stretch it out is because every episode, they gave a little bit of a background story behind the victim, which was nice because it's not just a name and a picture of the victim. You got to have a little bit of an understanding of that person that was taken way too young. So that was really nice to kind of give that respect to the victim. It was that was very nice, but what a disturbing, crazy individual. And the guy who played John Wayne Gacy, well done. I'm just to really kind of bounce in and out of that character. I had to take a toll on you for sure. Narcissistic, megalomaniac, obsessive compulsive were so clear. There was a scene in this show where the legal team had a psychologist come in and evaluate John Wayne Gacy for court. And the psychologist was like, I've never met an individual like this in my life, and I never want to, ever again. And she went through like this long list of diagnosis that she had for this individual. And you're just like, oh my God. She's like, I've never seen anyone like this again. And you could see how upset and disturbed, because he was just a monster. Just a monster. Anyway, he was charged with several murders. They think that he was linked. They found 33 bodies in his home. So that's what the police know of. They think that he may have killed many more victims along his life in different areas where he lived. And they are still trying to link that today of missing people. But they know that they discovered 33 bodies that John Wayne Gacy killed. And he admitted to. But how many more? And it's just so dark. And when I was watching, when the police were doing like their forensic work, I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? You forget how kind of primitive forensic collection was at that time in the 70s, and how far they progressed to now. When you're like, oh my God, you're touching that, you're not even gloved, you're just picking things up, you're removing it from the scene, you just disturbed the crime scene. It was interesting watch. So go watch if you like that serial killer genre, and it's huge, the crime genre. Go to Peacock and watch Devil in Disguise. And we had the finale, the conclusion of Task on HBO Max with Mark Ruffalo. It was good. It was good. Slow start to the season, but it really built the story. And I thought that the finale really did kind of close off all those loose ties, any unanswered questions. It was definitely answered in the finale. But Task was a very good series. Like I said, slow start, but everything that was slow really was a story developer, and kind of everything really worked its way into the full picture in the series. So if you haven't watched Task on HBO Max, go watch it. Mark Ruffalo, what can't you do? You are really a diverse actor, and I appreciate your work. Really appreciate your work. You know, as from somebody from West Virginia, your role in Dark Water, I think that was what it was, Dark Water. Excellent. So, yeah, Mark Ruffalo, you can do anything. So Task, really good. You got to see so many different characters. I was into it. You had me. So I know we've talked a lot about politics and some other series, but I always like to come back and circle around to our beautiful world of Bravo and those lovely ladies. We'll get more into it on the next episode. So all our little ins and outs of Bravo, like, Potomac, Salt Lake City. We had the conclusion of Miami. But I want to get a little bit into Wife Swap, the Real Housewives edition. Wife Swap was really, I don't know, I'd say one of the unsung heroes of reality TV, and one of kind of maybe, I think, one of the originals. I mean, it goes way back, Wife Swap. And it was such a good formula. You had one wife and another wife from completely different backgrounds. And when I say completely different, I mean like polar opposites. And they would swap these wives, these two women, and just put them into a universe that was completely foreign to them. Like you would have like an atheist that had to go to the world of like an evangelical Christian, like just whoa. And they had to figure it out. Some were successful, some crashed and burned epically. And that's what makes it so good. But just trying to figure it out was what made it gold, right? And Celebrity Wife Swap, was even better. It was so good. Do you remember, was it Tito or Jermaine Jackson? The one that was the hoarder that I felt for his wife. I mean, that boy was a tortured soul. My God. That Celebrity Wives was so good. Remember, Coolio was on there too. 1, 2, 3, 4. Coolio was on it, and really good one. So, but that was off. But I do love Wife Swap. Every time I'm in a hospital, and there's really limited TV channels in a hospital. Wife Swap or Celebrity Wife Swap is always on. So thank you for giving me that. But Bravo took it up a little bit of a notch. It took some of our favorite ladies from the Real Housewives, and they fused that in with Wife Swap. So this week, which was the first week, it was all about Angie K from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Angie K, who's always done up and fabulous, always put together. Her house is just spotless. She is swapped with a lady in Idaho, a family in Idaho that is completely off the grid. They live on the land. They plant their own food. They grow everything. They live only on solar panel. They bathe outside. They have to go get water from the creek like a mile down the hill. Yeah, extreme, totally extreme. And then you had that mom leaving this off the grid, lifestyle into Angie K's, we just found out, $4.6 million home in Salt Lake City. We found that out last week's episode when she was fighting with Brittany. So yeah, they were really struggling through all of it. And the funniest thing was, Angie K's husband and daughter, when they found out where she was being swapped to, they're like, I don't think she's going to make it. And everybody was laughing. And then when Mary came over, Mary Cosby, when she came over to check on, she was like, what is happening here? And the lady was like gutting a fish, that the mom from Idaho was at Angie's case, and she's in the backyard tenting and gutting a fish, and Mary walks and she's like, what is happening? Why? Like, I think we need to go rescue Angie. I'm like, somebody needs to go rescue Angie. She doesn't belong up there on that mountain. She does not belong there. So that's what I'm thinking. But at the end of the day, Angie did really well. And I think, Angie, she acts very high maintenance, but I think she has some pretty humble beginnings, and she does seem like a really sweet woman. I think I would kind of love Angie K myself. I've always been Team Angie, and I think I'd really like her because there is just something relatable and just normal about her. Yeah, she's a little bit over the top, but that's why we love her. And I do want to get into her sunglass collection just a little bit. I have a thing for sunglasses. I get it. I would love to go in her closet and just plan her sunglass selection. So Angie K, if you want to send me one of your new sunglasses in your line, here I am. But I loved it. It was a really good episode. I thought it was so funny. I thought the guy whose wife left him from Idaho, he's like, I hope she doesn't go to that lifestyle and realize she wants to go back, because they had it once before and they left it to go off the grid. So, it was a good watch. It was entertaining. It was fun. Who doesn't want to see two people completely out of their element and try and figure it out? And then when they try to introduce their lifestyle to the other side, doesn't always go well either. So thank you for doing a nice little reboot of Wife Swap. I love the Housewives edition. But we have several other ladies from the Real Housewives that we love, all the franchises. And let's not forget Wendy Osefo from the Real Housewives of Potomac, who just was arrested the other day, home on bail, and declares her innocent and innocent until proven guilty. These are allegations as of now, and only charges. She will have her day in court. But Wendy is going to be too, so that should be interesting to watch now that everything's come out in the news about her. So I am definitely going to be watching. So thank you, Bravo, for giving me this lovely, wonderful twist for the holidays. I'm in. I'm so in. Well, that is it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Please follow us on Instagram at PoliWine Time, and please listen to PoliWine wherever you get your podcast. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye.